Yes, sir. First week of the playoffs, boys. We're here. As you can tell, it's just me today. The Wilson Time crew in true Wilson Time fashion was struggling this week in what is one of the most important weeks of the year. So, in honor of Wilson Time and just making sure we're actually staying on task here, I'm on my lunch break at work, filming for you guys, the fans, viewers. Click at the link to subscribe, dbffl.com. Check it out. But yeah, welcome in, boys. First week of playoffs, first round. A lot of stories of the first round for a lot of our members, mainly just not making it out of the first round. I don't really know what it is about the first round that gets so many people. Maybe it's just like the pressure of the playoffs, just really making sure to get your lineup set correctly. But there are some that struggle to make it out, and others I obviously have. But it was a nice little surprise to the flex seating. I don't think any of us were fully. I mean, we were kind of expecting Nut to pick Diz, but the way he was talking about it on the Podly, shout out Podly, I honestly thought that he was going to go with Cleaner, just kind of based off the matchups and just the injury with Daniel Jones going down for Cleaner, CD being banged up. But lo and behold, old Nuttius was spinning his little web over there, tricking us, and ended up picking Diz. I also thought it was a little surprising with Red picking Cleaner. I kind of thought maybe you'd go Jesse. We'll go into a little bit later, but just the matchups there looking pretty tough. Now, Jesse can be a scary team, don't get me wrong. It's just, I don't know, man. If you're really going off the matchups, and it's like theoretically every team that's supposed to be coming into the playoffs has a chance. I don't know if that's the one. Like with Cleaner, I feel like he had more of a shot, which is with his stars, but we'll see. Who knows? It's all kind of a crapshoot. It's a bit of a shit show. Obviously, I stumbled in backwards into the playoffs, the Rusty Bucket. You can call me Mater, I guess. But in the Rust, we trust. And that's what we're going to stick with. I just think that, obviously, going into the playoffs, we talked about it before, I don't necessarily like to be on a losing streak. But at the same time, it's just like if you're looking at the deeper, you do a deep dive on the stats and everything. For some of your players, if you're feeling down about them, it's like, well, okay, are they still getting the usage? Are they on the field getting the playing time? Is it just unlucky stuff that's kind of happening? I like to think that there's going to be some positive regression. But, I mean, at the same time, too, like if you want to take my team, for example, putting up less than, I think it's like 80 points a week or something like that. Still not ideal. Don't feel great. But it doesn't really matter because here we are. And you just got to put up or nut up. Then also with the sewers there, I was trying to explain it in our flex seating ceremony there that I get why Gobby picked Nick and I get why Jaden picked Trike to play in the first round. You just want to secure yourself, pick the easier opponent in your mind and save yourself from the Sacco. But I don't know, man. I was just kind of hoping for a little bit of let's mix it up. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like we see Brandon and COD down in the sewer so often that I feel like our brains are being conditioned to it. And it's like, oh, yeah, there they are again. And it doesn't feel it's exciting, I guess. It's always nice to have, people talk about the champion, having new blood in there. And it's kind of the same way with the Sacco. And so it's kind of hoping for a little more of a mix, shake up there. But hey, I guess if you're just bad and you're not bad enough for those guys to pick you in the first round, then you're just kind of in a purgatory sewer hell, I guess. I don't know. COD, I feel like, is like the Muck King down there. We talk about the Muck War, and I feel like that's COD sitting on his like pile of trash throne, kind of like Game of Thrones, where it's just all ironed together, and you got like doo doo hanging off the side of it and stuff, and you're just like, yes, welcome to my lair. But let's get into it. So I hate to do it, but limited on time here at Buckeye Pacific. But we're going to break down each matchup and just really take a look into like a deeper dive of what we have going on here. So the first matchup here, we have Darth Nuttius. Let's make this a little bit bigger for us too. But we have Nuttius against Diz. Now this is your true David versus Goliath kind of matchup. And Diz, you are fighting for the people, all of us that aren't worthy of scoring, whatever nuts averaging like 118, 121 or some shit. Like, fuck all that noise. Keep all that out of your head, bud. And I think at the end of the day, like, you have the dogs to make it happen. It's just about setting the correct lineup, really playing your matchups. And I mean, when I was putting this together yesterday, I was looking at Nuts' team. I'm like, okay, obviously there's a lot of big names on there, a lot of good guys. But I mean, the matchups are pretty tough for a handful of his big names. I mean, Patty Mahomes going against the Chargers. We'll see, man. The Chiefs are just kind of in shambles right now, and it's like, I don't really know if they're fully eliminated, but it feels that way. They're kind of acting that way. And going against the Chargers team that's ascending, I just think that, like, it's not a great recipe for anybody that owns a Chief. And then with Gibbs, yeah, of course, I think Gibbs is still going to do his thing. But there are, like, if there's any hope out there, it's not like Gibbs hasn't put up single-digit games before. And you're going against the Rams there, what is expected to be a shootout. I think I saw the over-under like 55.5. And so it's like, I feel like it's going to be a big passing game. Now, Gibbs can obviously catch the ball, but Rams, I mean, pretty damn good defense. So you're kind of just hoping that they limit him a little bit. Obviously, you don't like the Derrick Henry, Jackson Smith, or JSN. Those matchups, they should eat. Mike Evans, we'll kind of see how he is coming back. They got a full – Baker's got a lot of mouths to feed out there now, which is – but, I mean, of course, that's his number one target. And then, I don't know, like looking at the rest of it, like Gesicki, whatever, Aubrey, we know what he does. Seahawks D, hopefully Phillip Rivers can go out there and do something. But Omari and Hampton, too, against Kansas City's run defense, if that is going to be a competitive game and it seems like they both have pretty solid defenses, then it's kind of like, I mean, they could try to run the ball, just especially with them splitting a bit of time with Vidal there. I don't know, man. Could be more of a grind out. So for Diz, the people's champion, you just got to start the right lineup, bud. And, man, it's just – you're really hoping for one of those dudes like the Strange. You need to get a little Strange on your team, whether that's going to be him like himself or I guess Jordan Mason against Dallas, which I don't know, man. Dallas's defense been looking a little bit better against the run. It is also Minnesota. They suck. And then the Zay Flowers conundrum. We'll see. But at the end of the day, you got to trust your gut. The move that you made with the Stafford, starting him over Jalen Hurts last week, it's a big move. Maybe you have some, help with that. But regardless, I'm rooting for you, Diz. It's just that Nuttius, man. I just don't. I feel like for Nut, it's going to have to be a combination of guys that put up like mid games for them. I just don't see it happening. and I think Nutt's going to try to continue on his reign of terror here. Typically, when we see these kind of teams make the playoffs, when they're loaded like that, they're also scoring a bunch of points, riding hot. It usually leads to a deep playoff run. But who knows? We'll see. We will see. By the way, I'm going to pick Nutt in this matchup. I think it's closer than you think. And I think that's going to be with Diz putting up a high amount of points as well. But Nutt moves on to the next round. Sorry, Diz. This matchup, obviously myself versus Trone, the Marshawn Lloyd simp. And by the way, Trone, I can't listen to any justification about Marshawn Lloyd. I had that motherfucker last year. Didn't do anything. He doesn't do anything. He's no keeper. Literally, to Nutt's point, it's like an impossible path for him to become relevant for next year. Even if Josh Jacobs left, I don't even know, man. Like, Emmanuel Wilson has been eating this year, and who knows if they get somebody else. So, plus, the dude just doesn't play. So, whatever you're doing down there, dude, the management, I can't even get started on it. But, yeah, what are we doing? And I probably should have explained this before in for the first round there with Nutt and Diz, but kind of color coordinated the opposition ranks there somewhat similar to Sleeper, where red, like the letters in red are your 1 through 8 worst matchups. Orange is kind of like your 9 through, I think it was like 16. So they're not the best, but they're not the worst, obviously. Yellow is more of like your 17 through 24 there. So it's a good matchup, but not great. But like your players should be expected to hit their points. And then green is obviously, it's like the 25th through 32nd. So those are the worst defenses against that position. And from what I read on Sleeper, which I've actually never done this before, went and checked out their explanation of it, and they expect your player to exceed their points for their projection there. So for me this week, got a lot of yellow going on. I think, like, and you could tell by the projected points, like it's gonna be tight hole. It's gonna be coming down to somebody on this, like on our teams that aren't expected, so none of your big names. And I feel like it's gonna be like one of those, whether it's the flex, the tight end position for Trone and I feel like it's gonna come down to that. If we want to dive in a little bit deeper on my side, it's gonna come down, like I need Baker, I need Egbuka to actually do something. I can't be having these duds out there anymore. God, and this, like, I feel like that's where my rust is coming from, but should be a decent matchup tonight. And I don't believe everything that all the articles are saying out there. Fuck the articles this time, Gabi. I'm not paying attention to them. Talking about, Mike Evans coming back, too many mouths to feed, he's going to lose target share. If anything, Egbuka was actually doing a hell of a lot better when they did have Mike Evans on the field. So, just taking away the defensive attention away from Egbuka, so he's not having to beat the number 1 the entire time. Yeah, we'll see. But for Trone, I mean, I just played him 2 weeks ago. The A.J. Brown, he's starting to get his targets now. I'm scared of that a little bit, and but we'll see. There's question marks on both sides of our teams here. Like Trevion with the Ramondre split, who knows how that's really shaking out at the moment. And then, I mean, the Eagles could shit all over the Raiders, which they will. Maybe they aren't going to throw the ball a ton. I don't know. That also could mean bad things for Genty. There's a lot of question marks kind of coming in here with some solid stuff. Like, I am not feeling the greatest about Drake May going against Buffalo because I feel like that will be a shootout. But Jordan and I we have a interesting matchup. I feel like this is perfect for the 4-5, just how you would expect it, pretty even. I don't want to pick this matchup since it's myself, but I mean, I'm going to go with myself. Toronto also just has only made out of the first round one time. So if we're going off anything with our DBFFL history, I'm 12-5 in the playoffs. I don't remember Toronto's exactly, but one time out of the first round in 15 years, that's got to be saying something. I'm telling you, the experience speaks, and I'm listening. So I'm going to lean myself. But it's going to be super tight. And like I said, I think it's going to come down to somebody we're not fully expecting to make a big difference. Our number 2 seed, Red, with the Queen Man himself. You know, I was looking at some stats last night, just like of our history and stuff. And one of them I noticed with Cleaners. So he's been in the league, his 4th year, right? Finishing up. But he's never finished below 4th place since he's entered the league. I don't know, like, dude, I mean, obviously, Alec, you've taken a lot of heat from this show with the luck and everything, but I think at some point we got to start pointing it towards, like, Alex got something that's working for him, whether it's strategy and drafting his players, how he trades. Can't really ignore it. You know, first 3 seasons, not finishing below 4th, like, that's pretty goddamn good. And I mean, one of those is a finals appearance there too. So if you want to talk about experience and everything, I mean, Red has won a championship. He was in the championship last year. Just when you're looking at this matchup, simply put, it's like I'm having a hard time with the Shedeur Sanders. And like, I just don't know how that's necessarily going to shake out against the Bears. Now, the Bears' defense isn't the greatest against them, but I mean, it's still Shedeur. It's still the Browns. Like, you're in Browntown. Who knows what to fully expect when you're there? But the Kyren Williams and CD, that's kind of more so the big question for me is, like, is Kyren actually going to go out there and put up tutties or yards on a stout Detroit defense? Like, their run defense, according to Sleeper, is number 1 against the rush. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, obviously, it was annoying for me last week to see the Ramdom kick my ass, but are we going to see that again? I don't necessarily think so. And I think, like, this game is going to be way more about the passing. So, I mean, 55.5 points. I'm not saying Kyren can't fall in the end zone. He is their lead back, but kind of look based on I saw the lineup set there. You don't have both backs in there. So what if Corum does come in there and vulture a TD? He's getting more work. And kind of the same thing with the Rico and Chuba thing. And I know it's been said before, but man, here we are. First round of the playoffs, and you're already getting tortured by these matchup or these lineup decisions. It is tough. And like the Mark Andrews, kind of same deal there too with Isaiah Likely, obviously being a Likely owner. It's like, dude, there's a lot of guys on Cleaner's team right now that are battling out other guys in the same position on their team that could make or break this matchup for them. On the flip side of it, Red's team feels very similar to how it was last year. It's like, obviously it's good. He got I think it was number 2 seed last year too, or somewhere up in there. But I don't know. There's something about Red's team that I just can't get behind fully. Like, I don't feel as confident as I could say as like Nut or Cal, who obviously have been putting up historic points. But I think Red this week has enough juice in his guys, and he's got some decent matchups there that I think he can get it done. The Jalen Waddle in the flex there, I think that's going to be a huge – like, he needs Jalen Waddle to do something kind of like he did last week, whether it's just a touchdown, 70 yards, I don't know. But he's got to have him do some stuff out there. Maybe with HM banged up a little bit, that'll help out. But, I mean, as far as, like, if you're going up and down the roster, like, at the end of the day, Nut kind of alluded to it with the QBs. I mean, if we're just going to go play the game, Josh Allen versus Shedeur, come on now. Get out of here. So I'm going to take red in this one. Again, I think this will be closer than we think. It's already pretty close right now. But I think at the end of the day, Queener's going to need Shedeur to actually go put up some points. Not saying he can't, but like I said before, the New England Buffalo game, you got Josh Allen rolling out there. He's going to circle that wagon. So I'm going to lean towards red. He moves on. And our final matchup in the playoffs, number 3 seed versus Cal, number 7 seed versus Hess. This, I don't know. For whatever reason, I feel like this is more. Well, I mean, I do know, like, obviously Cal's putting up historic points as well, but I feel like this is more of a. To me, it's more. There's more of a like spread on it compared to the Nut versus Diz matchup. And the reason I'm saying that is because, like, when I was looking at Jesse's matchups there in his lineup, some really tough matchups for some of his key guys. You know, maybe you swap out Montgomery, slide up Monongai in there, and put Juwan in there since he's playing Tennessee and they're bad. That's probably how I would lean that way. But really for Jesse, it's going to come down to Shaw. Just like he needs to put up 14 points somewhere in there. And then you're pretty much hoping that DK can get over his whole tummy ache, stop being a bitch, Jamar going doing his thing. I think Monongai actually will do his thing. So as long as Jesse has those things happen, I think it will be more competitive than I'm thinking. But then I'm looking over at Cal's team, and it's like, dude, you got Joe Burrow versus Baltimore. Okay, not the greatest defense, and that still should be a shootout. Christian McCaffrey's going to eat against Tennessee. Harvey, I'm not banking on that. But you get the Puka and the Devontae. And again, like I keep saying, it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think there's going to be a lot of throwing out there. The hand cannon is going to be tossing. And, dude, like, Devontae is leading the league in touchdown receptions, and then Nakua is out there mossing people against the 31st pass defense. So Tyler Warren's obviously going to take a hit. I don't really know what's going to happen with Rashid. I think that's going to be the biggest question mark for Calvin's team because, like, the Chargers did a pretty good job of limiting any big plays happening, like A.J. Brown stuff. He was still able to get open a couple times, but I think that's going to be, like, the swing for Cal there. If Rashid goes out there and teaches, then I think he blows Jesse out. If Rashid goes out there and lays a dud, then it's going to be closer than we think. At the end of the day, though, it's hard to pick against the guys that are breaking records as far as points per game goes. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with our reigning champion, Cal, and he moves on to play red for a rematch of last year's championship, while I will take on Nuttius himself and try to end the reign of terror. Now, moving down to the sewers. This matchup between our number 9 seed, Jaden, and number 11 seed, Trike, is going to be a doozy. If Breece Hall is limited or doesn't play, and kind of the same thing for T. Higgins there, this might be one of the lowest scoring matchups we've had in the sewer history since we started doing this. So I don't know, man. I just like looking at the projections, they're already low, but what you expect out of the sewers. But dude, I'm just looking at these names and like obviously Jaden's got the Bijan Algier stack there, but it's like outside of that, man, I have a feeling that we could see some historically low scoring in this matchup, particularly. Yeah, and I mean it's already like both these teams have already done it in the season, putting up like 50, high 40s, somewhere in there. I wouldn't be shocked if we see that again and what is going to be a doo-doo slugfest. Kind of like two monkeys throwing shit at each other, I guess. I got to lean towards Jaden, though. I feel for you, Trike. Honestly, I thought that was a good call by Nut in his last pod league, putting into perspective the injuries, because it is easy to forget back in week 4, you lost 3 of your starting running backs within a week span of time. Would I have drafted those guys? Probably not. But at the same time, anybody that you're losing like that, you're going to have a tough time coming out. But now dealing with more injuries. Oh, it's tough. But yeah, so Jaden, you survive. Trike moves down. It's going to be facing one of his local neighbors there. But don't worry, Trike. They love that toilet seat. I think COD's been itching to sit on it again. So you probably should be safe. But Jaden, you definitely are. And that leaves us with our final matchup in the first round of Sewers. Number 10 seed Gabi versus number 13 seed Nick, our rookie. So the swine sewer lord himself, Gabi, feels like he has no business being in this matchup. While I think Nick, as time has gone on, as much shit as you talk, Nick, you seem to be settling in well into your sewer role, which I'm glad. Come to realization. I do appreciate some delusion, though. Looking at your guys' matchup, it's like, and we'll do this in a later episode, I felt like Gabi actually had the pieces to make a playoff run, and who knows what would happen with Gibbs. That's what we'll break down later if it got saved the season. But I feel like when you're in the sewers, you have to have at least like 1 or 2 hogs that can just go off for you in a week and secure your safety net there, or whatever you want to call it. And Nick has like the James Cook, or Caleb Williams could possibly do it, your Brock Bowers. But the problem that I'm seeing is that he's playing against, like, those guys in particular have top 3 hardest matchups at their respective positions. So when you have your hogs there that you need to pop off for you and really just like bust a big one, I mean, dude, like, I just don't see it happening there. Where Gabi, he has some hogs. Well, maybe like 1 hog, unless you want to count Wandale in there, which I will. But no, I mean, really though, Gabi's team's more rounded out, and his most important positions in QB, running back, wide receiver, they all have pretty good matchups. Christian Watson may even be able to do something. I don't think it's going to be as close as we think on this one. I think, and I'm going Gabi on it, as much as it pains me to say, because I'd love to see Gabi get another sack up. I feel like that needs to happen, man, especially with us elevating those sacco punishments. Like, I can only imagine what would come up for Gabi. But Nick, I got to say, I respect your moves and everything this year. As far as just like wheeling and dealing, did I like your moves? No, thought they're trash. But I respect you at least making the effort there on them. But at the end of the day, I was saying last year that the Diner was possibly the worst team I've ever seen on paper. I don't know, man. This team is pretty fucking bad too. To be real, Trike and Nick's team just are so bad to me. And it's like, if you have an injury happen to one of these teams, it's over. So, yeah, dude, I just don't see it happening whatsoever. And honestly, with Nick and Trike falling down to the second round of the sewers, I believe deep in my heart there, San Diego boys, that you guys have better teams than both these guys. You can escape that sewer, and we can get some fresh blood in there to wear that new shit crown. But until we see it happen, who knows? But that's all I got. So as far as where we are at tonight, we kick off with the Bucks, Falcons, rip to Drake London. But gonna be exciting. I think there's gonna be some really good like matchups that'll happen. Now, my predictions have been pretty far off with the simple math, but at the same time, I do feel like there is a disparity in the playoffs and in the sewers as far as this first round goes, and what we're kind of seeing on the talent level. So we'll see what happens. But all I know is I got to go back to work. I'm going to beat you, Trone. I'm going to see you out there. I'm going to tell you again right to your face. And good luck to the rest of you boys. Don't overthink it. Start your studs. If you need a little advice, dvffl.com. Go check it out. But until then, I'll see you next week, Nut. Peace. Games.